New card comes out today. Kahhori, Reshaper of Worlds. It's a 4/6 on reveal. Each card in your hand gives one of your cards in play plus 1 power. What this means is basically for every card that you have in your hand, a card on the board is going to get plus 1 power. Simple, right? Think of it like Gwenpool. It's what they've been doing in the forecast lately. You see it with Galacta, Gwenpool, these cards that give boosted power in some shape or form to cards either in your hand or on the board. 3 cost is usually hitting everything in the deck, everything in the hand, but it's a little bit more or less power, or it's more random. Whereas 4 cost is a bit more power, and usually it's like Gwenpool's random, right? But like major power if it hits the same card, especially if it hits a Shaw or a Black Panther. But this is going to hit just 1 card on the board, so it's obviously going to be a later turn play. It's not something that you play on 4. You play your Galacta on 4 to set up. This is going to be something that you play probably on 6 with Mystique or something. You Mystique a Devil Dinosaur and then play this down. Or you do something like play Agent 13 and Maria Hill and this as the finisher, something like that, And so, that being said, there's a few ways that I think this is going to work, but one particular deck that I've been playing that I want to show off. So let's just get in. So I've been playing this deck here. It's been pretty fun. And basically it's a collector deck with a lot of tech cards. It uses the shield archetype to just randomly generate cards in your hand. And then you can play those cards for cheaper with Quinjet, or the discounts from Valentina and Iron Patriot, and then Victoria Hand will buff everything that hits the board that was created. Laufey is a card that I just love. I've been sticking it in everything. Just being able to just pull negative power, put negative power on their side while pulling it to your side is just great. It can be a lane flipper like you wouldn't even imagine, especially since a lot of people have been using Iron Man lately. It's great to hit an Iron Man lane, and you're taking off double the amount of points there. Enchantress has just been great into the ongoing meta. This is a deck I could see maybe shaving off a couple of cards for Devil Dinosaur and Kahhori. You could even do something with Agent Coulson and Nick Fury, things like that. Using Zabu, you can put multiple 3 costs down turn 6. You could go turn 7, but really, that would be, you could play out more cards, and since you're getting so many cards, it doesn't matter. But the other way that I see Kahhori might work is if you do Bullseye or discard with Swarm and Scorn and things like that are still in hand. And, last turn, if you're doing, let's say you do like a Sarah Surfer deck that's discard focused, using things like Gambit and Bullseye to create a lot of swarms in hand, and then using Kahhori to buff the board when you have Shaw and Brood down, etc. That's kind of an alt play to the Galacta and Gwenpool. I don't think it'll be as successful, though. But there are people who have been floating around the idea of putting her in Surfer. I think that's the best way it would work, because otherwise Surfer tends to run out of cards in hand. It's a problem why Gambit's not really played in Surfer anymore since his change. And but there's a lot of 3 costs in the discard category, so you could feasibly make that work. The other way I see it working is in a Black Swan bounce deck, where you bounce everything to the hand, buff everything on the board, and then the next turn play everything out with Hit Monkey. And I see that as kind of a thing that might work, but then you have to play Kahhori on 5. You have to be able to bounce everything on 3. You have to have enough stuff to bounce, which you really, at that time, have enough stuff in hand. And if you can't buff the same card with her multiple times, then she'll be dead in the water, if that's the case. I'm pretty sure, because her text doesn't say it, that she will be able to buff multiple cards, or a card multiple times. Now, it's all good and well, right? Kahhori's going to be a fine card. I don't think she's going to be a bad card, necessarily. However, she is definitely a skip. And the reason I'm saying she's a skip is because it's not going to do... Like, you could play the Devil Dinosaur Collector. You could play the Shield. Hell, you could even do Surfer Discard right now, or Bounce, without Kahhori. None of this needs Kahhori. Will she be a cool card? Yes. You can do things, since she's on reveal, you can do Wong shenanigans and whatnot. Since it'll definitely be good in Surfer, since Wong can fit in Surfer and work with multiple cards there. Anyways, there is Infinity Ultron coming out, who has a mini Wong in there that is a 3 cost that will work really well in Surfer. So when that pops off, Kahhori can fit in there, and I see Kahhori working. Problem is, we don't know what snap packs are going to cost. We don't know anything really about that. And you want to be saving as many resources as you can. And this is one of those, oh yeah, I pulled it from a pack. Cool, it's a new card. I love it. As opposed to, oh, I spent 4 keys, got a couple of variants, 2,000 tokens, which is less for the key than I would have got if I would have saved the key, and Kahhori. And I don't think Kahhori's one worth going 4 keys deep for. She's not going to be widely applicable, because you have to have so many cards in hand. I didn't even mention Thanos. Thanos is another one, maybe even Arishem, that could run. But Arishem's kind of running Esau these days, which is cutting the number of cards in hand. But, yeah. She can be used in a few different decks, but ultimately she's going to be the 13th card. She's going to be the card that gets cuts once people realize how limiting she really is. And +1 power is good. There was a boosted deck going around this weekend, right? With Shaw and some other cards, and it was just kind of a low cost, boost up power, throw negative power on the opponent's side with Lasher type deal. That's great. She might even fit in something like that. I wasn't able to run that deck because I lacked Lasher and a couple other cards. But this is not a card that's going to feel good if you go 4 deep on it. It's just not. This isn't even... You can't feasibly recommend 6,000 tokens on this card either, when it could end up costing 3,000 or 5,000 down the line. Now, the spotlights are Coal Obsidian and Hydra Bob. Now, Coal Obsidian is great for Surtur, but we've seen Surtur drop off especially since the change to Sam Wilson's Shield no longer being a 1 cost. Surtur really fell out of the meta, and Coal Obsidian really doesn't have a place anywhere else. Yes, he's played in Thanos, but that too isn't really big in the meta. Now, a lot of people love Hydra Bob. He did get nerfed because a lot of people loved Hydra Bob. But I'm going to tell you right now, Hydra Bob is mid. Not even going to bother to look at the win rate or anything like that. It's just a mid card. And so these are cards you don't need. You can replace all 3 of these cards. And so for that reason, I'm saying skip, wait. It's going to be a great card you pull in a pack. Sure, cool. Then you can start doing some fun things in the shield. But right now, resources are limited, and Infinity Ultron and Hydra Stomper are going to be so much better. So, yeah. Let me know if there's anything you think I missed regarding the card, if you actually think it's worth getting or something that's a must-have. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.